Hello and welcome to WTV. I'm Matt Brand.
And I'm Eilish Boning. This week we've got some really great stories for you.
That's right. We take a look at some counselors behaving badly.
They definitely made a few questionable comments.
And we'll also check out the newly updated Argyle Street in downtown Halifax.
There's lots to see, but first, let's head over to Hannah Butler with the news. Hannah?
Thanks, Eilish. Following the launch of the pre-primary program in Nova Scotia, insurance companies have told the school board that 4-year-olds can no longer play on the climbing equipment. Le Petit Voilier Preschool has decided to do something new. They made a decision to replace all plastic and metal with something more natural.
We have benches, we have natures, we are really in the woods. So if you sit down with the kids to have like a circle time, you can listen to the birds. You can hear stuff. You can smell the nature. There's so many opportunities that we can have with them that we didn't have before.
Marwa says she is confident that there will be fewer accidents.
For sure, it's going to help the insurance. We will have less probably accident, and it's more adapted for them.
Province House was a little livelier than usual on Monday afternoon. Carly Slonwhite knows a little more about this. She will tell us why. Carly?
This is for Carly. Thanks, Hannah. Despite the rain, a crowd gathered outside the House of Assembly to discuss key issues faced by Nova Scotian women. The rally focused largely on Bill 148, also known as the Public Services Sustainability Act. The act imposes a wage package that many aren't happy about. Jenna Brookhouse is one of them.
This government currently has been quite overtly attacking public sector workers.
Jackie Barkhouse, a co-organizer of the women's rally, says nurses, teachers, and other female-dominated professions are affected by the bill.
So Bill 148 actually largely impacts women workers. So that's why women are coming out and rallying against that.
Monday's rally also touched on domestic violence, poverty, and minimum wage.
A fair wage is great, but the problems in the system you can't avoid. You can't make the problem better by adding $4 in coins.
The rally was a follow-up to the Women's March in January. Barkhouse says she's grateful that people are still coming out to show support.
You know, women and men, people are interested in what is being said at these rallies, and we're very appreciative that they're coming out and being informed.
The crowd was smaller from the last women's rally, but that didn't stop Tahima Dewan, a student from Bangladesh, from feeling inspired.
I am so excited and happy because I am a woman and I want every woman change her life.
Barkhouse says she will continue to organize rallies that support women in the province. She says she hopes the next gathering will be in January and will focus on healthcare. Back to you, Hannah.
Thank you, Carly. The local chapter of the Islamic Relief Society of Canada just wrapped up a week-long fundraising campaign at Dalhousie University. Their goal is to support refugees from war-torn countries like Myanmar. Aisha Gashes heads the Islamic Relief Society.
Islamic Relief Canada really just works to bring aid and relief to countries that have gone through calamities or poverty or all kinds of different sort of tragedies, I guess. Really just a background and like a philosophy, and their purpose isn't to spread Islam specifically, but just to help out with what we can and what we believe we should be helping out with.
The group had bake sales, a ladies' formal evening, and a kids' karate night. Gashes is hoping to eventually expand the group.
I think the most important thing for me now is just watching it grow and have a bigger impact on not just Halifax, but the Maritimes in general, which tends to be the sort of ignored part of Canada for a lot of major events. So,
for many Nova Scotians, November is a time to prepare for winter, but for others, November is an important time to raise awareness for pancreatic cancer.
So Craig's Cause Pancreatic Cancer Society was formed in 2006 after my father had a diagnosis of 8 weeks before he passed away. And at that point, we knew that it was vital to support pancreatic cancer research in Canada.
This is the 4th year for the 5K track around Lake Bonneux.
Other events that have sprung up from it are the Maritime Bike Tours, Pedal for the Pancreas, and then this Light Up the Lake, which is in 6 different provinces across Canada now.
I'd like to see more of a conversation. I'd like to see more people talking about it and being educated and knowing the signs and the symptoms so they can catch it early so they have a better chance at survival.
Pancreatic cancer is one of the deadliest forms of cancer. It is estimated that almost 5,000 Canadians will die from this disease this year alone. And that's the news. Back to you, Matt and Eilish.
Thank you, Hannah.
After a quick break, Matt will be getting us up to date on some local politics.
I promise it won't be boring. We'll be right back.
It's another beautiful day in Dartmouth.
Great weather to take advantage of the Harbourfront Trail.
Welcome back.
So, Eilish, last week Jamie Bailey quit his job as the leader of the provincial Tories.
That's right, Matt. Bailey said it was time for a fresh face.
Yeah, so I talked to someone who had an idea of what that fresh face might look like.
Hi everyone. Today I'm announcing that I will be stepping down as leader of the PC party.
As Jamie Bailey stepped down as leader of the Nova Scotia Tories, Donna Lugar hopped on Twitter. She thinks the next leader should be a woman.
Having a female in the leadership role would certainly open more doors, more eyes, and certainly give young people something to aspire to more so than what we have now.
Lugar is a mother of 2 who lives in Bedford. She says it's been too long since Nova Scotia had a female leader. She'd like to see a role model for her daughter, who is a political science student at Bishop's University. One of the most prominent female leaders in Nova Scotia's history would like to see that too. Alexa McDonough was the NDP leader for 14 years.
But I think the most important thing is for women to, get into leadership positions in whatever it is they're passionate about and present a good slate of candidates for the public to choose.
Aside from party leaders, 17 of 51 seats in the provincial legislature belong to women. McDonough says the numbers are slowly getting better.
When I was elected originally, I was the only woman in the legislature, so I wasn't just the only woman in the NDP caucus, I was the only woman, period. And I don't think that day will ever arrive again. I mean, that was the low point.
But since McDonough stepped down in 1994, there's only been one female party leader, Helen MacDonald, and 2 interim leaders, Karen Casey and Maureen MacDonald. Donna Lugar thinks maybe one day her daughter could add her name to that short list.
I could actually see her being quite instrumental in the government in some way, whether it's a leader or being the spokesperson behind the leader, or even writing the leader's speeches.
Thanks, Matt. There's still lots of work to be done to getting women more involved in politics.
Definitely.
Well, it's been a busy month for officials at City Hall.
from offensive, out-of-date terms used during a TV interview to questionable interoffice memos. Municipal staff have been on damage control.
WTV's own Emily Vaudeville caught up with two of the counselors in question.
I didn't see nothing offensive about using that word. Somebody else took offense to it.
The controversial memos stem from a Cornwallis statue in downtown Halifax. Councilman David Hensby said of the tarp placed on the statue, surprised it wasn't red, referring to native scalps. Hensby says he was surprised by the public backlash.
Well, I was a little surprised in regards to the comments being made by certain individuals. I felt that perhaps they're a little overreactionary, but then that's their mantra. They're activists in their own way, and to activate discussion, they have to be that way, be provocative.
Down the hall from Councillor Hensby is Councillor Matt Whitman, who was also no stranger to public outrage. In a recent CTV interview, he used the term Negro.
There's lots of people that are contacting me that weren't offended and that don't think I need to apologize, so I'm not apologizing to those folks. I'm apologizing to folks that were offended, and those are the only people that I need to apologize to.
As of last week, 4 formal complaints were filed against Whitman. City Hall says it will ensure the code of conduct has been filed for both Hensby and Whitman.
The municipality does expect all councillors to follow Administrative Order 52, which is that code of conduct.
The code of conduct says members shall observe a high standard of professionalism when representing the municipality and in their dealings with members of the broader community.
Folks that take offense to my comments are not from my district.
There's over 400,000 citizens in Halifax, and 4 of them have filed a complaint. And the others have contacted me to say that they appreciate the way I do my job and they appreciate me listening. Unfortunately, 3 times in 5 years, someone's feelings were hurt.
Emily Vaudeville, WTV News, Halifax.
Thanks, Emily.
Okay, Eilish, you're a student.
I am.
And you want to save money.
Always.
Well, our next segment could be for you.
It's time now for this week's installment of On a Dime. You might want to grab a pen. Down to you, Amanda.
Thank you, Eilish. This week on A Dime, we explore savvy shopping and student discounts. One of the most important items in any budget is food. Keep an eye out for produce items that have had their price reduced for quick sale. Make sure to bring your student ID to Superstore or Sobeys on Tuesdays for a 10% discount. Shop at retailers like No Frills and Walmart for cheaper groceries. Local businesses like Chops in Burnside or Gateway in Cole Harbour cost much less than typical grocery stores and also support local businesses. Need some retail therapy on a dime? Goodwill offers a 10% student discount every day with a valid student ID. Visit thriftstore.ca for printable coupons, which change every month. For a night out on a budget, Moosehead tickets are $12 with a valid ID. They hold student nights on Thursdays for $9 and include free admission to the Dome and Cheers before midnight after the game. Neptune Theatre also has student rates, which will usually save you around $10. Yuck Yuck Stand Up have student rates of $5 on Thursdays and $14 on Fridays and Saturdays. So whether you're a savvy shopper or a student on a budget, these tips are a sure way to leave a little extra change in your pocket. Join us next time for On a Dime. Back to you, Eilish.
Thanks, Amanda.
Time now for another quick break. Coming up, an art class that's making a difference one painting at a time.
We'll also look at cats and Kijiji and why they shouldn't mix. Stick around.
Cool but clear here in Dartmouth today.
This shot is actually from right outside our Ivany campus. Welcome back. Well, it took 21 weeks of construction.
But the newly streetscaped, people-friendly Argyle Street is officially open to pedestrians.
Here's WTV's Noah Rideout with the story.
Halifax Mayor Mike Savage hammered in the last stone on Argyle to celebrate the opening of the new shared street project.
But I think people today will see, the real opportunity that we have to bring people together in our downtown. People from here, but also people who've never been here before.
The construction has been going on for 5 months and saw a 4-week delay. The extra time has put a strain on some businesses.
It was a bit difficult because of delivery guys, construction guys. They couldn't get down the block. But as far as the actual build itself, it looks great. It's going to bring a lot of business and tourists to the area, I think.
The shared street project is focused on creating a lively and people-friendly downtown. There's more pedestrian space, game areas, and year-round patios. Many locals say it's a good thing.
But it's great to see this, we're getting this far so these businesses now can get back to thriving,
We live downtown and I work downtown, so it means a lot to us, so we're here to celebrate.
I think it's a positive thing. Good to see everything coming together.
Mike Savage says he hopes to see more projects like this in the future. Noah Rideout, WTV News, Halifax.
City officials say it will be another few days before construction is finished, and then the street will be open to traffic.
Now let's pause for a second and talk about cats.
Our own Lottie George spoke with a local woman who rescues our little feline friends.
So it was kind of either take them or they're going to be out on their own.
Chelsea Andrews adopted a cat online from an unwanted litter.
I found my cat on Kijiji. The owners didn't have their pets spayed or neutered, so they ended up getting pregnant and they didn't want the cats.
A free kitten is not a free kitten.
Last year, Erin Lynch primarily rescued feral cats. This year, most of the 150 cats in her care were abandoned house cats. They were surrendered to her or abandoned on the road by her house.
Looking online for a free kitten because they don't want to pay an adoption fee because they think an adoption fee is too much for a cat that is tested, needled, fleed, wormed, spayed, and neutered. $200 is too much.
Erin Lynch says that people who surrender their pets do it because they either can't afford the spay and neuter or refuse to pay for it. There are also no bylaws protecting cats from being abandoned.
I feel like people do need to be held accountable and they need to realize that it's a serious matter because we can't just have like this abundance of cats floating around.
Earlier this year, a 5-year government grant was put into place to fund $50,000 per year to spay and neuter stray cats. Erin Lynch is awaiting the results of those changes. I'm Lottie George, WTV News, Dartmouth.
Thanks, Lottie.
So, Eilish, I hear you had an interesting weekend.
I did. I got to meet some pretty inspirational artists.
Let's check it out.
Will Brewer has been creating art for almost a decade.
I see the potential in these fabulous artists.
Brewer is part of something called Team Possibles. It's put on by the Nova Scotia Down Syndrome Society and takes place Saturdays at the Chocolate Lake Rec Centre in Halifax. There are currently 13 artists in residence.
Art here can be a medium to bring people of all walks of life together.
This year, students are working on a special animated storyboard about the program. Jenny Shee is the art director.
The storyboard is come up by every team members together, so it's a group effort. And this year we have our instructors facilitating different stations.
Team Possibles members have worked with many different artists over the years, but she says she thinks it's people like Will who are doing the teaching.
I've learned so much from working with them, and we sit down together and just, I look at the way they paint and they look at the way I paint, and that's the way we work together, mutual learning.
Will Brewer says artists with Down syndrome should not be underestimated.
I believe that not just everyone has a voice, but to me, I like advocating for people with Down syndrome.
That's a really cool story.
Yeah, and I managed to leave only a little covered in paint.
Time now for Better Halifax.
Our new segment this year where we profile people who are trying to make the city a better place to live.
Whether it's art, activism, or their own way, they're trying to make a difference.
So let's catch up with Mohammed El-Attar.
So I started making my videos and started making this channel to counter stereotypes about Islam propagated by the mainstream media. And I just realized there are a lot of misconceptions and a lot of stereotypes out there that are somewhat too sensitive or controversial for people to talk about. So I decided to use comedy and humor to address these situations and these topics and educate people about them. Halifax is still a growing city, and a lot of people describe it as the combination of a large town, small city. It hasn't historically been the most diverse. It's a process, and I believe my videos can help educate people about Islam. I believe a lot of people simply are just unaware about certain Muslim issues. They're unaware about certain topics. It's not that they're, purposely being, racist or discriminatory. They just haven't really met Muslims or haven't really come across these topics.
For example, I did a count for how many times the mainstream media has misrepresented and insulted Muslims. So according to my calculations, the number of times the mainstream media has misrepresented Muslims is infinity. Wait, that can't be right.
And I just decided to go for it. It's just pretty much an aggregate of just mainstream media propaganda, just a lot of misinformation out there, and I feel like Muslims have been underrepresented in the media, and I just knew that I had to do something, at least just so I can tell myself before I go to sleep that, hey, I did what I could. So I try to use these videos to tackle these controversial topics, these sensitive topics, through the use of comedy and humor in order to educate people. Because I believe as human beings, we speak one language, and that's comedy. And when people are willing to laugh, they're willing to learn. And I hope to use my twisted sense of humor to educate people about Islam. My name is Mohammed El-Attar, also known as That Muslim Guy, and I hope to use my videos and comedy to educate people about Islam and make a better Halifax.
If you want to check out Mohammed's humor for yourself, find him at That Muslim Guy on YouTube.
Well, that's our show for this week. Be sure to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at WTV Media.
And tune in next Thursday to Eastlink TV at 7 p.m.
Thanks for watching.